I would like to call the June 18th meeting of the Carver Select Board to order. The time is 5:36. This meeting is being recorded by Area 58 Community Access Media. Channel 9 will be posted by Area 58 on YouTube as soon as possible. There are openings on several committees. Please refer to the front page of our website for a listing of all applications. Would you all mind please standing for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Round, the community prayer.
Okay. Community prayer. Almighty God, humbly we pray your blessing as we concern our life with the opportunity to serve our community. Enhance us with your spirit of dignity and selflessness. May we become instruments of support and understanding as we seek to bring an environment of trust and purpose among all who provide the many services that make us all that we can become. Help us achieve the goals of our commitment in this office that is now our responsibility, and especially we lift our prayers for all the citizens of our community that we've been allowed to serve, that they may discover the fullness and joy of life that we all seek. And keep those serving in our armed forces and our first responders in our hearts and thoughts. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Mr. Ryan. Okay, the first item on our agenda will be entering into executive session pursuant to GL 30A21A2 to conduct strategy and preparation with non-union personnel, Fire Chief Craig Weston and Chief of Police Mark Dufley. That if discussing the matters in open session may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining position of the town, and will return to open session. This will be a roll call vote. Would anyone like to make a motion?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and we have a second. Mr. Townsend?
Mark Townsend says aye.
John Carter says aye.
Dan Ryan says aye.
We are now in executive session. Time is 6 o'clock. We're now going to reconvene our...
Oh, you need your mic. Sorry. Got to move it back.
Sorry, the time is 6 o'clock. Now we are now going to reconvene to open session and continue with the June 18th meeting of the Board of Selectmen. Next item on the agenda is citizens' participation. Would anyone like to come up to the mic? Mr. Belbin, please state your name and address.
Hello, Robert Belbin, 26 Gate Street in Carver. Already gave Mark this, but the pole is fixed at my end of my driveway. I went to FCC, filed a complaint with them, with Verizon and Comcast. I actually got the confirmation today that the case is officially closed. So if you guys can't do anything here to deal with the poles, file your complaint with the FCC. All right, because you're going to get something done. There's a time frame of how long they get to get it fixed and everything and resolved. So that was my first thing. My second thing is that I wish the other members were here. So the North Carver Water District, yeah, not too happy with the prior administration. I think you can understand that, all right? I want to make it perfectly clear, they're all pieces of crap. The way they treated this $6 million plus plant is horrendous. The lack of oversight is unbelievable, okay? And there's one member that says it's our fault too. When I was a select board, it was ours too. No, it's the 3 commissioners. Their job is to take care of that plant, to oversee the company, and the company didn't do their job. We're gonna cost us a lot of money to get that back up and running, okay? I just found out a thing about the generator that's locked out. It won't even work, all right? Why is that? I'm upset, yes, okay? What I'm even more upset about is when Small Water System went ahead and said, we're gonna give you a 30-day notice. And there was a meeting between Michael Palmieri, our town council, Elaine Weston here, all right, that said, hey, let's wait for the next guy to come in to go ahead and take care of it, to get a new company in there. They should have put an RFP right then and there to get a water operator company to come in. We are in default of the guidelines under the DEP. Okay? It's their fault. It's your fault. It's the commissioner's fault, all right, that we're in this condition. It should have been put out. Now we are without an operator or a secondary operator, all right? The place is unfit to work there. There's no bathroom out there for anybody to use. That goes into the work. We have to start with that, number one, okay? The back lights don't work at all anymore, okay? They all need to be replaced. They're all old and outdated, okay? Outlets don't work. It's, believe it or not, a simple fix. You know what it is? Let's replace a GFC outlet. And guess what? They work. Okay? A little outlet. You got extension cords running around the floor on a water plant. Okay, the condition is horrendous. And not one Board of Selectmen member has reached out to me and said, can we come look at it? Not one. The only two people from this town that has looked at this plant since I took over is the electrical inspector and the plumbing inspector. That's it. And that's a shame. Glenn has asked to come visit it. I'm sorry I didn't include you in that, but you did ask to come, and we will take care of that. But you know what? Elected officials, $6 million plant, it's a shame. Okay? And it's even worse that we have two members that were on that district that have applied to come on this board. The way they treated our $6 million plant, and they even have the audacity to come here and try to get on the position again. If we hire them, you guys appoint them because I'm one vote, guess what? Shame on this town. Shame on you guys to do that. Okay? If they were sitting here with me, I'd tell them right to their face. I'm mad. I'm not even on the water system, I'm mad. As a taxpayer, I'm furious that this was allowed. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Do we have anyone else that would like to come up to the mic? Please state your name and your address.
Donna Ferran, 27-8 South Meadow Village. I just wanted to come before the selectmen and just talk a little bit about the MBTA Communities Act, and I'm really concerned what that can do to our community. I understand and I'm trying to learn, and I've reached out to our town planner, and next will be the planning committee, and just talk to them a little bit about what they know about it. But I'm asking all of you to really look into it, and when you do make decisions for our town, that you make the best decisions. We can't afford to put in another school system. We can't afford to do a lot of different things to support 750 homes and possibly 750 children, right? So we just have to be careful. And then as far as the North Carver Water District, I would hope that when you make decisions tonight, that you really think about that area, and if Middleborough Water District is really working for us, you know, maybe that's a decision we need to do, is to stay with the Middleborough system. But thank you for your time, and I also wanted to thank Mark and Karen for their time to our town, because we really appreciate what they do for our town. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to come up to the mic?
Cornelius Shea, 148 Plymouth Street, Carver. Thank you for your time tonight. I'm really only here to speak in support of the residents from the North Carver Water District that have applied to sit as commissioners. These people's homes have been affected by it. The health and welfare of their families have been affected by it. They know what they're getting into. It's already failed. The last two commissioners quit. It's been years of mismanagement and neglect, and they know very well what they're getting into. It's a sunken ship, and they're willing to support their families, and more importantly, the long-term future of Carver. Being able to provide clean water is going to be, in the next 20 years, of primary importance. Right now, it's of primary importance if we ever hope to see any commercial development in North Carver, the Green Business Park, or anywhere even outside the Greenwich Business Park in North Carver there, north of Route 44, the old 44. But honestly, this is part and parcel of the foundation of growth, development, and being able to support the infrastructure that this town will need, not only now, but in the coming years, because that contamination is continuing to spread. More houses need to be put on it. It might come to the fact that we have to abandon that plant, but the town's still on the hook for it for the next 10 years, I believe. And re-getting all the permits from DEP and the state and the EPA and the federal government will be a nightmare for already having a failed system. But honestly, the bottom line is I'm just here to support the residents of North Carver that are applying to take on this absolutely monumental job. Thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else like to come up to make any comments at citizens' participation? Seeing no one coming up to the mic. Next item on our agenda is the presentation of citation to the Veterans Agent, Mark Pinio. Mark, would you want to?
What do you want?
I guess come up here.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, I'll open it up to board members. Do you have any comments?
I would just say that, I've had the opportunity to work with Mark as well as Lisa on lots of different things as far as the Veterans Department, and it's always been a pleasure working with Mark. His dedication has been extraordinary, and Carver was very lucky to have him in that position, so just thank you for all you've done.
Oh, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Echo the same. Thank you for your dedication and support to the town.
Nope, I enjoyed it.
Again, the same as the other board members, I think I was at that bridge dedication ceremony, and it was heartfelt to see veterans get recognition, and
Yeah.
obviously all the activity that the Veterans Department does do to support our veterans is greatly appreciated. What we have here is a citation that I would like to give to you. Do you want to go around and we'll take a photo of something? We accept this citation as token our appreciation for all your work you've done.
Thank you very much. I don't know how they did.
All right, next item on our agenda is the recognition of Emergency Medical Services employee Karen Fine's retirement and for 36 years of service to the town. I believe Mike Ryan, EMS Chief, has something he'd like to say.
Good evening. Karen is a very private person and would not ever come to any of these things. When she announced her retirement, I had to make a promise that we wouldn't do anything because she would literally leave. So, but I definitely want to make sure she gets the recognition she deserves for her years of service for the town and especially for our department. Karen became an EMT in April of 1988. She's began working with the EMS department immediately as an EMT. She worked regular shifts on the ambulance from 1988 till about October 2005 when we went paramedic level. At that point, she more resumed an administrative role, but she did still respond on calls and second calls and things of that nature. During Chief Walsh's tenure, she became the deputy director and then eventually deputy chief underneath his leadership. And the two of them were instrumental in building the department, building the foundation of the department that we see today. A lot of things that they put in place, policies, procedures, building processes, everything, is what has made us successful for many years to be a self-sufficient organization while still providing such an essential service at a high level for all of our members of our community. Her administration role has been instrumental in continuing that, from overseeing the billing, patient billing aspect of it, to make sure that we're receiving the billing payments we are expected from patients and insurance, and also making sure that we're not overbilling patients and their insurance, to make sure that people are paying just what they need, from using multiple vendors to try to find the lowest cost for supplies to save money on the operating budget, so that we can return that money back every year back into the ambulance fund and use it for future expenses. And then finally, handling the department payroll. She's always handled the department payroll. She does that methodically and make sure that all staff members are paid appropriately, accurately, and efficiently every time. She also worked continuously throughout the pandemic as well, just along with other administrators and frontline workers, to make sure that the service kept up and running and we were able to still provide the essential services we needed. And finally, for me, most importantly, is after Chief Walsh retired, she probably could have went at the same time, but she stayed on, and she was instrumental in helping me in the transition process from deputy to chief. Originally, I thought she was only going to do 3 years, and I got squeezed an extra 4th year out of her. But she's been instrumental in assisting with that transition, and also with the transition of some of the things that we've changed since I became chief, for the more progressive and the changing work environment that we have in EMS. So she is going to be missed. She's definitely has done a lot, but the best part about it is her legacy will be in that department, the same as Chief Walsh, for all they did for years with the department to build the foundation that we continue to build off of today.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
What we have is a, Chief Ryan, I'll give this to you. This is a plaque for Karen, thanking her for many years of service.
Great, thank you. Thank you.
Okay, next item on our agenda, we have a joint, I guess that's a joint meeting. We have one person from the North Carver Water District. We're looking at appointments of 5 applicants for 2 open seats as water commissioners. So do we know if all the applicants are here?
Call them one at a time.
Okay, well, all right. I just would like to say as we go into this that let's keep our questions. Again, ask any questions that you want and share your opinion to members of the boards. But I know it's a passionate subject, but let's be professional. All right.
Mr. Chairman, might I suggest we interview the applicants in the order they're in the packet?
Sure. Mary C. Domer will be first on the list. Again, we know your name. Let's state your name and address.
Mary Dormer, 162 Plymouth Street.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you very much for taking your, as mentioned before, volunteering on these boards, taking time out of your personal life. And again, this is a very important role that someone will be taking on. Challenging, yes. And thank you for your interest. Any other questions from the board as far as?
Well, I guess the first question I would ask is, Mrs. Dormer, if you were appointed, do you intend to run you'd have to run next year on the ballot. Would you intend to run for re-election?
Yes, I would. Yeah.
Thank you. Could you tell us a little bit about why you'd like to be on the water district?
Well, I live in the plume that with the contaminated wells, and my personal home, I put in a filtration system, so my water is clean. I'm concerned about my neighbors because the water from Middleborough has PFAS, and as all of you know, I've been to so many meetings talking about PFAS and the dangers of it and the contaminated water and how important it is to have clean water. And with the EPA lowering the regulations, you know, the Biden administration has put out a lot of money so that we can fix small water systems. I know I've said, I was here in 2021, and I said it, and I sent out, the application for the grants. I don't know if you guys filled them out, but water is so important, and the people in North Carver deserve clean water, and they haven't had it for a long time. I mean, when I found out about it, it was 7 years ago. These people, we have to clean the water. And the North Carver Water District does not have PFAS over there. It's testing clean. That's the water that we need to give the people in North Carver.
Okay. Mr. Ryan?
I guess, Ms. Dorn, what would be your priorities? So once you're on the North Carver Water District, what would you want to do first? What would be the top priorities?
Well, I think we would have to work with Bob, and as a team, we would have to go out there and see what the most important thing is, but we have to get it up and running. I mean, I'm not sure, I've read Bob's posts, I've been to a couple of his meetings. It's a mess over there, and it needs to be cleaned up, and it needs to be run correctly. I mean, we're paying for it.
Right.
Our taxes are paying for it. So let's get it up and running.
And how could you help to do that? What would you bring from your experience how to help get it up and running?
Well, I have a relationship with the DEP because while I did allow the hardware for the water main to come into my home, we had tested above the state limit for PFAS, and it was taking a very long time. So I went ahead and I put in a filtration system and a reverse osmosis system in my home, and I worked with the DEP to do that so that my well would not be condemned.
Okay.
So, I have a good relationship. I've worked with Bob. I have a good relationship with the DEP.
Okay, thank you.
And so right now, you're not hooked up to the water system?
I am not.
And do you plan to be hooked up to the water system?
No, I have a dual carbon filtration system in my house and a reverse osmosis. But it is set up in case in the future, if anybody wants to, if we sell the house, they can.
Okay. Well, any other questions?
Mr. Belbin.
Mr. Belvin?
Thank you very much for applying. I appreciate it. I thank you for mentioning that we were on the Waste District too, where we worked well together. With all the challenges of what you're going to do, are you able to meet before 12 o'clock
Yes.
in the morning? I work that. My only day off is Wednesday that I babysit till 5, so I could meet on Wednesday at night. Those are my two things.
Yeah, I can meet during the daytime or in the evening.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next on the list is Douglas Fix.
Mr. Carter, if I could just ask a question. Mr. Belbin, do you have a copy of the applications?
Yeah, I just got them yesterday.
Okay, but you do have them. Do you?
I've already read them all,
Okay.
and yeah.
I just want to make sure you had them, because I noticed we have them on our computers, but you don't have anything.
No, I like I said, I just got them yesterday. I mean, I would have loved to have them sooner. I would have asked everyone to come down to the water district so they could walk through it before they have a meeting. I was only given 4 names, but like I said, it's been available since the 7th, and I just got it yesterday afternoon. And yeah, I would have also, just to go along with that, is that I would have loved to have had notice of the time that this meeting was going to be held. Therefore, the first person that we vote in to the North Carver Water District, they could get sworn in, and they could also be a voting member for the next person that comes in. I would have liked to be able to do that. So, like I said, my little criticism there. Thank you.
Okay. I guess again, just going in the order on this list, is Douglas Fix here? He is not. Next person on this list, Alan M. Menard.
Maynard, but I don't hold it.
Oh, sorry.
No problem.
Make a note.
Like Maynard in the morning, if you remember him.
Again, thank you so much for volunteering your time to come and talk to us tonight and potentially volunteering your time to help us with the North Carver Water District. I guess, would you like to start off telling us a little bit about your background?
I've lived in Carver 22 years. I live at 148A Plymouth Street. It's A because it's a back lot. I bought 15 and a half acres of cranberry land and upland and everything, and with 22 disgruntled butters, and cleared it out and built a house down there and drilled a well. First thing everybody told me is, you're nuts because the water's bad down here. So I had the water tested. In fact, I made the contingency on the purchase to have the water tested before I built the house and drilled the well. I actually had drilled the well. And the water turned out to be fine, but I've always had that in the back of my head. When I purchased the property from Chad Handler, the town water treatment station was on that property. So I was the owner of that property for about 7 or 8 years. So with my purchase came a very large stack of photocopied documents, and I enjoyed my winter evenings looking over those things and finding out what I had acquired, what I would own someday when the problem was gone, a nice metal building, what liabilities I might have, what kind of trucks I might be having coming on the property, and so on and so on. I subsequently sold part of that property to a bog owner behind me, but nonetheless, I retained the knowledge and the interest. A few years ago, we found that we were supposed to be being tested for water. The water was supposed to be being tested. It wasn't. Subsequently, it was tested, no problem. In one test, we had an amount of, a very small amount of vinyl chloride. So we've been on bottled water now for several years, which is tolerable. We live with it. It's not optimal. I have 6 kids, and the water empties pretty fast. They all have big muscles and carrying a lot of bottles. My house is also unsaleable, basically, at this point in time. I'm waiting for town water. One of the last, I guess, the pipe's been brought to the end of my driveway, but I have a 900-foot driveway. Anyway, that's just kind of the background of some of my knowledge. I have a background in construction many years ago, earth moving, but I've been in information technology for the last 30 years. I've been on boards and committees. I'm one of those people who, if you ask, I'll help out and jump in. So I've been executive, I've been chairman, I've been commodore, I've been this, I've been Schlumper, I've been committee member, I've done whatever I have to do. I bring some experience, some knowledge of the water system, some knowledge of how to get things done. I'm a very tenacious person, working with vendors and stuff. I work for a Boston law firm, and the lawyers don't like to hear the system doesn't work because the vendor won't come across whatever. So I'm very used to dealing with people who are dragging their feet and so on and so on. I'm very tenacious at digging things out, because in technology, that's the way you do things. You have a solution. You know there's a solution there somewhere. You know there's a logical solution there someplace. Stuff doesn't just stop working. There's a solution. So you got to find it. At the end of the day, if you didn't find it, you didn't do your job. So that's kind of how I approach things. My first order of business probably would be is calling up the chairman and go up and trying to walk around the site and seeing it, but just to gather as much information as I could on the current state of affairs. I think at that point, I won't go all Churchill here and say I have nothing to offer but blood, sweat, toil, and tears, but I think you get plenty of sweat out of me, and I don't know. My meeting schedule might be difficult. I work in Boston 3 days a week. I could do Wednesday nights. I work at home on Mondays and Fridays. A schedule being during the day with advance notice and not taking 3 hours would probably be something I could pull off. But it wasn't something I had any ambition to do, but 2 things kind of happened. One, at the town meeting a couple of weeks ago, I was kind of embarrassed that there was nobody else on the commission. And I said, gee, that's pretty tough. And I also got concerned because I've got some skin in the game. I have my family living in the North Carver Water District. So I said, well, my father used to say, if you want something done, you got to do it yourself. So that is, in a nutshell, why I'm here tonight.
Well, great. Thank you for coming here tonight.
If you have any questions you have for me.
Any questions from the board?
Again, as I asked the previous applicant, you would have to run for this position. If you were appointed, you would have to run next year.
I would definitely,
intend to run?
If I'm appointed, I would. I don't get into something for a lark, so.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Belbin?
Thank you again for running for this position. I do appreciate that. Did you say you work at a law firm?
Yeah, but I'm not a lawyer.
No, I understand that. What type of law do they do?
Business law, a lot of mergers and acquisitions, a lot of intellectual property, big law.
Okay. Not government law.
What's that?
Not government?
No.
All right, administration and whatnot
No.
for towns, okay. The other thing, like the time frame of it, like I said, I do have one posted for this Friday. If the members can't make that Friday, we'll make it for the following week. I'll try to do a Wednesday night.
Well, this Friday,
for
as a
it.
matter of fact, is no problem. I have a day off, but
Okay. Okay.
I can't take every Friday off.
So
But
that's it.
I do work at home on Friday, so if you were meeting like 1 o'clock between 1 and 2 on Friday, that's the kind of thing with advanced knowledge wouldn't be any problem to schedule out.
Unfortunately, it's before 12.
Well, even so, whatever time.
I work nights. That's my only thing is I do work nights. I work 2 to 10:30, 4 days a week, and so nights are tough for me. So,
tough.
but that's it. Son go to Mass Maritime?
My wife is the registrar at Mass Maritime.
Oh, that's what it is. Okay, that's how I remember. I'm like, wait a second. I think I'm okay.
The
Yeah.
kids get free shirts.
She's a registrar. Yeah.
Leftover shirts
Okay.
and stuff, so
Yeah.
as they work
'Cause
around
we
town.
talked about that one time. I was down their house one time. I forget why. I think it was for nomination papers or something like that,
Oh, hustle and
for
save,
full
yeah.
disclosure or whatever for everyone. But yeah. Now it's coming back to me. So thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Oh, no problem.
Mr. Ryan?
I was going to ask the same question on the priorities if you were to start, but it sounds like you are saying that you would just have to get the information. You heard a lot tonight from
Yeah,
Mr.
I
Belvin,
think
so
that would be really
you
the
want
first thing is fact
wrap
finding,
your,
get my
yeah,
arms around it, you know? And,
Yeah, I mean, it
and kind of
sounds-
prioritizing what I thought that, obviously the chairman's got to lead, but whatever,
Right.
whatever is feasible, what's not, you can say, I want this done today, but if
Right.
there's no budget and there's no material and there's no manpower, you can't do it, so.
Right. So it sounds like there's a long list of things that need to be done. It's just a matter of you all coming together and, just punching through that and deciding what's the top priorities that we need to tackle first, and how do we work with the town administrator in the town to get those things done. And then as far as your, what you bring to the table, it sounds like you're saying just, your effort, the effort you would put in, or the ability to be able to take on some of the tasks and help the group out to get things done.
Yeah, and I understand, I don't have any, first-hand operation of water plant operation. I do understand, soils and equipment material and pipes and things, it's like I say, I was around excavating for a number of years, so it's stuff I do understand. I built my own house, you can't do that, you can't do that from scratch without
Right, have some
a
knowledge.
little, so.
Okay.
And I think you said a little bit earlier was that, I forget you also,
Yes, thank you.
is that you are the last potential hookup on the street, and that you've got,
I think I'm pretty close to the last, yeah. I mean, Kevin and I have been going back and forth, and I'd like certain things documented in writing and so on and so on. And I know they want to get me done. I want to get it done. I just want to get everything correct first, just in case. So I'm pretty sure I'm close to the last.
so I guess I wasn't sure what you're saying. Did you say the pipes are at your street or at your house, or they haven't made it to your house?
The tie-in is at the end of my driveway. They put that in last summer, wasn't? Well, I think it was. And I thought it was going to be done last summer, but it wasn't. But my driveway goes up 300 feet from the street, and then it turns and it goes down the hill 300 feet, and then it comes around the house 300 feet. But so coming across the lawn, it's probably what it's 700 foot, 800 foot run. So they can't do that in 15 minutes. They've got to, and it's going to close my driveway off for a day or two while they do it. So
Sure.
I've got to kind of plan everything, and unless I'd be trapped or something, or have to go to the woods or the bogs.
Well, thank you.
All
Thank
set,
you, Mr. Maynard. Thank you for your time.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next on the list is Eric Mueller. Is Eric Mueller here? No. Inklehofen. Next on our list is Kim Shea.
Good evening, Kim Shea, 148 Plymouth Street.
Well, thank you, Ms. Shea. Thank you for, again, coming to meet with us tonight and volunteering to spend some time helping us try to straighten out the North Carver Water District. Do you want to give us a little bit about your background?
Sure. So I've been working in the health, safety, and environmental field for over 27 years, mainly working in biotechnology. I have I'm a licensed wastewater treatment operator through the New England Water Pollution Control Commission, There's a requirement through the state to operate small treatment systems for industries before you discharge. So I am familiar with the equipment that is needed for wells. I'm very familiar with state regulations and federal regulations regarding water and wastewater. I have the health and safety background in understanding some of the hazards and conditions and things of concern when handling and treating water. So there's a lot of caustic and corrosive materials that are being used. They need to be stored properly. They need to be labeled properly. You need to have the right PPE. So these are things that are very important. So when Bob is talking about working conditions, you know, working bathrooms, working faucets, but also chemical safety and just general safety in the plant itself is very important.
Great, thank you. Any questions from the board?
Ms. Shea, as I asked the other applicants, obviously, if you were appointed, will you intend to run for the position next year?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And
Ryan?
same questions, what would be your priorities? So if you were to get involved, you know, today, what do you think needs to happen first, and how would you do that? How would you start that?
It's a loaded question, but
Yes.
I'll try to answer it best I can. So from an operational standpoint, I think you get the low-hanging fruit first, get the place cleaned up. We need to get somebody in there to look at the system. So RFPs are going to be very important. Getting contracts, getting operators on site at some point will be important. But priority is to get that plant into a condition where it can get operational to make the DEP happy. Because until we make the DEP happy, we really can't do anything with that plant. And, you know, that plant is very important. Personally, I believe to the future of Carver, where we want to see that commercial development. We have the urban renewal plan program over there. We have the opportunity for commercial development if we can provide the infrastructure. And water is vital infrastructure for the development that we want to see there, and that's part of our master plan. You know, Middleborough's been a great neighbor, helping out our residents. I really think that with the right management, that this plant can be operational, it can be functional, and it can be very beneficial to this town and to North Carver.
And just to follow up, do you have time to be able to help us to do that?
Yes,
Okay,
I will make the time.
thank you.
Priority.
Oh, sorry, Mr. Bellin.
That's fine.
I was in your back.
Again, the same question is availability before 12 o'clock, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, or Wednesday nights.
Well,
It's-
right now, excuse me, right now, I'm on a little hiatus from work, so I could do, my schedule's pretty open. But in probably next couple of weeks, a Wednesday evening would be best, but I could certainly probably work out a schedule that would be work best for everybody.
Okay. And I should have asked this to the other members, so I'm going to put you on the spot. Have you looked at the state law that regulates water commissioners and the roles of it?
For water commissioners,
Just for water commissioners, yeah.
briefly, don't
Okay.
quiz me.
All right, no, I won't.
But
I'm
I
not going to.
will.
I just,
No,
like
it
I
won't
said,
work, right?
I'm sorry I didn't ask the other people because I wanted to, and I forgot. I had it here, and whatever.
So
But
I
thank-
have, to clarify though, I have read the legislative act that put the North Carver Water District into place when we voted on it. So there are responsibilities and scopes inside that document itself. So, you know, I know that we would have to assign a water commissioner at some point. That would be outside of the board, but it would be a decision of the North Carver Water District to come up with a water commissioner to oversee all the operations.
Right. Okay, thank you.
Great, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we going to do a joint motion, or how does this work, or?
I think that only because you're a one-man committee, any one of us can make a motion, any one of us can make a second. I think that's what the town council.
Mr. Chairman, could I ask a question, actually a couple
Sure.
of questions before we start? So, Mr. Cannon, to you or to Ms. Weston, we have two people that applied but aren't here tonight. Have we heard from them? Do we know why they're not here?
I know everyone everyone was notified and requested to be here. I don't know why they're not here.
Okay.
All right, so would anyone, I guess, I'll be open to take a motion.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for coming here. I wish we could put all three on the commission, but we only have to select two. So my first motion would be for Kim Shea.
I'll second.
We have a motion and we have a second. Any questions, issues, concerns?
Well, I just give you my thought is, I appreciate everyone coming tonight, and everyone has different qualifications. We have two people that aren't here. One of them previously served in the North Carver Water District, and I don't know why they're not here. I know they recently resigned. I'd like to know why they resigned before we appoint somebody, because I think that experience may be valuable on the North Carver Water District. We have another applicant who I've never met, never talked to, but he has 32 years working in a water department, and I think he could be valuable, but he's not here, so we can't interview him. And personally, I don't think I'm prepared to vote until I'd like to hear from those two people. And quite frankly, I'd like to postpone this vote until we have a chance to hear from them. So that's my thought.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Mr. Bell.
All right, I understand your point, okay? Had Doug, he was on the board at one time. So, I think my speech at the front pretty much solidifies my feeling about those two people that were already on the board. And your interest about knowing why they got off of it, if they wanted to be here, they would have been here. Putting this off is not an option. It's not. I get emails from DEP, James McLaughlin, saying, do you have an operator yet? You need to get an operator and a secondary operator in there, okay? Had this been done at the first, all right, with the prior administration that was in here, okay? Had it been done, all right, then guess what? We put an RFP back then, all right? We would have had somebody in within 30 days. They did nothing. Nothing. I had 2 days from the 15th to the 17th with small water systems. We went down on a Friday to shut it down because I had nobody else to do it. I can't do anything because I'm held up because a date of the 7th was put in to go ahead and put this vote in here, okay, to put the advertisement out. They should never have been. Whoever puts their vote in, their paperwork in first, okay, get them in there because we need to get an operator in there. All right, I can't wait to find out how much this is going to cost this town in fines through the DEP. All right, right now, what's on the books is $5,000 and some change there as a fine, okay, because we didn't notify them on time of issues, okay? So waiting is not an option, Mark, I'm sorry, okay? These two people were on the board once before, and I'm sorry, they did a piss-poor job when they were on it. I don't care what experience or training they have. Walking into that plant the first day of not being in the water, guess what?
Okay.
This is wrong.
Mr. Belvin,
right, so-
I understand you have an opinion. Everybody has opinions on the way different people do their job. Okay, I'm not talking about that at all. All I'm talking about is that we have an applicant, we have one applicant who has experience in the North Carver Water District. So I think that experience could be valuable. He stepped down. I don't know why he stepped down. I'd like to ask him why he stepped down. That's all I'm saying. Did they have a conflict? I don't know if they had a conflict because we didn't hear from them. We have two members tonight who had conflicts and weren't able to be here. We have another applicant who has 32 years in water departments. That experience could be valuable. That's not saying anything against the people that applied tonight. All I'm saying is I'd like to hear from those people. This North Carver Water District, I spent a lot of time with the previous town administrator and the North Carver Water District people trying to work with them. This board did. We had them in. We know how important that is. I know how important it is. I've talked to lots of people up on the North Carver Water District. This is an important decision. And all I'm saying is I understand the urgency to make it, but I think my opinion is it's in our best interest to wait and give these people another chance to come in and talk to this board. That's my opinion.
So what if they don't show up the next time?
If they don't show up, they don't show up. There's nothing I can do about that. But I don't know if they had a conflict tonight, didn't have a conflict tonight. I have no idea. Nobody has any idea. I just think we
Well,
should
through
give them a
the-
chance
through
to talk to the
chair,
board.
I mean,
That's all.
I looked at all the resumes, and, I think I can make a decision, at least for this, what I made a motion on Kim Shea. I think there's enough experience there, and it'd be nice to have new people also involved, I think, too, to help to sort out some of the problems. So I think I at least want to move forward with one member to get you started. If we can make a motion on the second one, but I'll keep the motion so we can vote, so at least you get help to get one person to get going sooner than later, I think is important, not to wait.
I guess my thought process is, I hear what Mr. Towns is saying, he doesn't feel comfortable without hearing from these other two members, but they had an ample opportunity to show. But this district's been around since 2006, 2007. I think that many people have been involved. I don't think you can turn around and say it was one person's issue, one person's fault. There's been changes of boards, there's been changes of commissioners. It's just been a flawed process. But I think I myself would like to hear from the other two applicants as well, based on their experience that they have in the business of maintaining a water plant, as well as I would like to know answers to some of Mr. Belbin's questions with what the transition was like when they left. So I think I would like to wait and postpone the vote until we hear these from the other two individuals.
So let me get this straight. So there's a motion and a second now on Kim Shea. Are you saying hold off on all the vote? All right, because this is what the motion is. The motion isn't about, I'd like to get the vote of this candidate now, all right? And if the next one you want to turn around and do that, so be it if I get overruled for it. But, I mean...
That would be my recommendation as a compromise. At least we vote one member on tonight, and then if you want to hold off and give the other two an opportunity, then we can vote a second member, on another night. But I at least want to, if we're not meeting for a couple of weeks, it seems to me voting one member tonight makes a lot of sense. And then, get that in motion, and then hold off on the second person until you have the opportunity to talk to them.
Mr. Chairman, this is not a compromise for me. I want both done tonight. I don't want to have to come back. Okay, we have 3 candidates that have come here and took the time to do it. Okay, I have a question. When did you get a copy of all the applications for this meeting?
I believe when the agenda packet went out.
Okay.
I think it was Friday.
So you guys got it Friday. I didn't get it Monday. Okay, Monday afternoon while I'm at work, I checked on it. So you had it all weekend. You could have called those individual people and asked them why. So, I mean, if you had those questions then, all right, and you're here now, you could have asked those questions to those two people
Sure, I could have,
before.
but then the entire board wouldn't have been able to hear those answers. And I think it's important that the whole board hear those answers and not one individual member.
Well, they could have done the same thing.
Bob, that wouldn't be a discussion. We're here to have a discussion, not individual discussions. Also, I had no advanced knowledge that they weren't going to be here. Okay, I didn't know we weren't going to have 2 members here. I mean...
It doesn't show that they just weren't interested. I mean, we're at a critical point.
We might as well take a vote and then go from there.
Well, again, I would like to have a full board here, and I would like to hear from these 2 applicants.
Mr. Cannon, I have a question. If we take a vote, what is necessary to approve a member? In other words, if 2 members vote yes and 2 members abstain, is that member appointed, or do 2 members have to vote no to create a tie vote?
So right now, it's a quorum of 4, so you need a majority of that, so it's 3 positive votes
So
for the motion to pass.
So if 2 members vote yes and 2 members abstain,
It does not pass.
the motion does not pass.
Correct.
Mr. Chairman, one other thing.
Yes.
And this isn't a threat, it's just to let you know what I'm going to do tomorrow. All right, if we do not vote on one member tonight, My next order of business to be notifying the DEP, because that's what I was gonna tell them. I'm notifying you guys that we had a vote. And if this vote fails, okay, I'm gonna turn around and just say, look at this video, look what I did, okay? I'm doing the best I can, but I'm being held up by our town. Not the water district's holding it up, the town, the Board of Selectmen are holding this up, okay? We need to get an operator in here. We need a primary and secondary operator as quick as possible. The only way we can do that, all right, because town council, which is really, really bizarre because, nothing, Glenn, I understand your point of why you did it, but he goes to town council, okay, and asks for an opinion if I can make decisions. A phone call to me would say, hey, I'm not making any decisions, I'm getting estimates on how to do the work. But went to town council and got an opinion just to make sure that I don't make any decisions with the water district, which is really funny because the same person is counsel for the North Carver Water District, which is a huge conflict of interest, okay? So, all right, which that also has been reported to DEP. All right, so I want to make it clear, okay? If you guys don't vote at least one person in tonight, okay, I hope DEP comes back and finds the crap out of us.
That's really, really appropriate.
All right, please. All right.
Mr. Chairman.
Sure.
I would just like a minute to, again, just reiterate my thoughts on this, okay? I'm not passing judgment on anyone here tonight. I appreciate everyone coming in. And I just think this is such an important appointment that we have two applicants. We have one applicant, there were two applicants that weren't here tonight. We have one applicant who has past experience on the North Carver Water District. And I think that experience could be important. Why he's here, I don't know. Nobody knows. I think we should give him a chance to talk to this board. We have another applicant who I've never met. I've never talked to him, but he indicates in his application that he is 32 years working in a water department. I can't imagine how that wouldn't be valuable. Maybe we'll have him here and we'll find out the experience does not correlate with the North Carver Water District. I don't know. But I think it's worth this board finding out, and that's my thought.
So, Mr. Chairman, one last thing here.
One last
This is
thing.
it. All right, with that other person, okay, with the many years of experience, okay, I want to make it clear, he was on the board, okay, the North Carver Water District. When it came time for election time, his job, I'm sure he answered the same question, I have to go back, all right, when he got appointed, all right, that was probably asked, are you going to run during the election, okay? And he didn't run for election, okay? Phil Shannon got in, okay? He didn't pull papers to even run, okay? So, I mean, right there shows that he had no intent of staying on because he didn't do what he was supposed to do. All right, so, I mean, and the other one put in his resignation on May 15th when I took over. All right, so, I mean, we have people that are interested in taking on this role, okay? We have 3 applicants here, we should vote on those 3 applicants.
Any other comments from the board? All right, I still feel like I would, again, I'd like to have a full board here from the select board, and I'd like to hear from these 2 other candidates. As Mr. Townsend said, they have a lot of experience, and Mr. Belbin brought up a lot of questions with regards to the transition between the other commissioners and with small water systems that I think I've got some questions on. I'm not looking to blame anybody, any past commissioner for it, but I'd like to know what happened.
Mr. Carter, could I make one other comment?
Sure.
So I just threw you to Mr. Cannon. It may be, Mr. Belbin may have a point. We may not want to wait that long. Maybe we need to set up an additional meeting in between tonight and whenever our next meeting is scheduled. I know there was some back and forth with when that next meeting was going to be, but maybe we need to set up an additional meeting just for this particular item. We don't necessarily have to wait till the next select board meeting. So I just wanted to make that point, that's all.
True. And I think I've seen some literature that, is there some kind of July 1 deadline for a report for DEP you were mentioning?
So the July 1st deadline is for the Consumer Confidence Report, and through talking to Glenn here, the town administrator, he actually got, because it was my understanding that Small Water Systems was in charge of our plant, the December 31st, when that's the one-year period. So they should be doing it anyways. Glenn talked to them and negotiated out that they were going to do that July 1st deadline. I haven't seen it yet. Hopefully I'll get it soon for it, so it can get passed out, because it has to be passed out to all the residents. It's going to be mailed out by July 1st. So
Okay.
that's okay, but we still have testing that needs to be done, and we have to confirm that the testing's being done by Middleborough, cross-connection testing, and also testing of our wells that haven't been done since Small left. So,
Mr. Chairman, if I could.
Sure.
Just so you, so right now, I'm not aware of any deadlines that are pending right now for the North Carver Water District. So Middleborough has come in and stepped in and done the water testing again. So they're actually testing their water on their system, because there's a shut off from the homes to the plant. They're not trusting the plant. I have convinced Small Water Systems to conduct the CCR report, which is the Consumer Confidence Report. Is that
correct.
Yeah. I've convinced them to come back to work for us to finish up that report, so they're going to do that. I do know there is some plant testing that does happen in July. I haven't had those discussions with Middleborough yet, because we have a little bit of time. I didn't know what this meeting was going to go tonight, but we can have that discussion. But there's no deadline right now that I know that's kind of staring us down. We need to comply with.
Okay. So back to Mr. Townsend's question, that if we didn't wait till July 1, we wouldn't bring individuals back, because we've heard from them. But if we had a meeting on the 25th and told the individuals you're either serious or not, maybe they had a conflict, maybe I don't know.
I did not reach out to them.
Okay.
Chairman. I saw them the day they applied. I saw both of them the day they applied. I don't know why they're not here tonight. We could reach out to them, I could have a conversation with both.
Or possibly accommodate Mr. Belbin's schedule, because I know that he has maybe possibly mornings free.
I have mornings free. Actually, on the 25th, I have a fire inspection at the Sportsman Club that's got to be done at 8 o'clock in the morning, and then my truck's going to the shop at 9. So I can change the time of my truck. It only takes like 25 minutes to do the inspection.
So a noontime meeting, would that work for you? Would a noontime meeting work?
Oh, that's fine, yeah.
I can't do
No.
a noontime meeting on the
Okay.
25th.
So,
I can do morning, I can do afternoon, I can do evening. I can't do noontime.
All right. And we could possibly have a full board, but could you dial in?
I have to call in probably, depending on the time. If it was night, if it was like, normal time, I could be here, but if we can't, I can call in.
Okay. And so Tuesday, Mr. Belbin, and you said you had some things to do in the morning, but would I don't know, 10 o'clock time frame work?
I can, like I said, it's 20 minutes over there. I can change my oil change for my truck. Doesn't matter. I already changed it once. I can change it again.
Mr. Carter, might I suggest, since we have 2 members of the board that aren't here, maybe we could ask the town administrator to reach out to everybody and try to schedule a time that works for everyone?
On the 25th.
Okay.
On the 25th?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll make myself available on that day, whatever time
Okay.
works for everybody. But we're still left now, we've got a motion and a second. Again, it looks like, I'm guessing that this might be a split vote. Do we want to go forward with the vote, or would they like to rescind?
You have to go through with the vote. A motion was made, a second was
Motion was
done.
made, we have a second.
Just a motion could be withdrawn. I'm just offering that piece of advice.
It's up to you.
You made the motion, not me.
No, it's up to your recommendation of what you would, as far as waiting till the 25th or just
Oh, I don't
taking
wanna
the
wait
vote
at all.
tonight. Okay, then I can leave it stand and vote on it.
Okay, so then we have a motion and we have a second.
Mr. Carter?
Yes.
I just want to reconfirm with the town administrator. So, Mr. Town Administrator, if there's 2 yes votes and 2 abstentions, the motion does not pass, correct?
The motion fails.
Thank you.
Does not pass.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those abstaining?
I abstain.
Abstain.
Do we have to come back?
Okay.
No.
Does mean I'm out?
I would ask, should we come back if the missing members of the select board want to talk to us?
Oh, good point.
Yes.
If you, sorry,
Is this,
that's a great point.
if they do, I mean, maybe it's plans that we don't know.
May very well be that the other members would like to speak to all the applicants.
Yes. So yes, it would be great if you were available.
So if you abstain, my nomination, and it fails, so that means I'm not a candidate anymore?
No,
That's kind of how
no.
I'm viewing that.
Right. It just didn't, it just
It
didn't.
just didn't pass.
It did not
Actually,
pass.
it didn't fail. It just
Pass.
You could be
did not pass.
renominated at the
You
next
can
meeting.
renominate.
Right.
Yep. Okay, I guess the motion fails.
I'll make a motion that we approve Alan Maynard to the North Carver Water District.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and we have a second. Any other questions, issues, concerns?
No, I have the same issues
I
with
think
that
I might have the same
appointment,
issues
that
as well.
motion that I had with the last one.
So, we have a motion and we have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those abstaining?
I abstain.
Aye. Motion fails. Again,
There's only 2 positions.
yeah. Again, just to reiterate what Mr. Townsend said, is this is not a reflection of the candidates, it's just getting more information.
Not at all.
And thank you all for your time. All right, next item on our agenda, discussion and possible vote to rescind the vote of June 21st, 2015, to accept, I'm going to get this name wrong, Scapanic property located on Tremont Street, Assessors Map 10-3-0-R. Is there anyone like to speak on this article, this agenda item?
Wayne, you want to? You have more history than I do on this one.
I can give you a little bit of history on this. From, I guess, a former director of assessing, Ellen Blanchard was part of this, who's now on the Board of Assessors. So back in 2013, this property went to town meeting and was voted to be donated to the town. At the time, town assessor Ellen Blanchard found an error in the deed. The deed was corrected. It was sent to town council. That was in 2015. And in the meantime, nothing was filed. Nothing came back from town council, and so the deed was never filed. 2023, the Scapanics came in and said, since the deed hasn't been filed, can that vote be retracted, because they would like to actually just sell the property to the neighbor of that parcel of land. And we checked with town council, and they said it's just a vote of the Board of Selectmen.
Okay, any questions from the board?
Do you want to start?
I have a couple of thoughts. I see our assessor here, Mr. Roach. Could we ask him
Sure,
to-
Mr. Roach.
to come up for a minute?
Hi, Joe Roach, Town Assessor.
Thank you. I had a couple of residents reach out to me about this, and I just wanted to confirm a couple of things with you. So there were some people that were concerned that we were giving away or giving back a very valuable piece of property. So I went and looked up the assessed value in the town book, and it looks like the total value is $200.
That's correct. So there was an abatement done 2014, FY14, following the town meeting vote, where the value was reduced because of its shape and its unbuildability.
Okay.
So it's $200. I think the taxes for the year were $2 and change. It's a very small tax bill.
Okay. And as I understand it, if the, what I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, is the reason we want to do this is there's an abutter who's interested in purchasing the property from the Scapanics. And from what I've been able to find out, we couldn't sell the property to that abutter if we wanted to, correct? Because of the way the deed was conveyed to the town?
So, in my opinion, the Scapanics still own the property because the property's never conveyed. The deed's never been recorded by the town of Carver, showing it going from the Scapanics for consideration of some sum to the town of Carver.
But that, I'm sorry to cut you off, but that was not done because of the way the deed was written, correct? There was an error in how that was done.
That's correct. So, I would just say that when when this was done back at the 2013 town meeting, it was being done as a deed in lieu of foreclosure. So, I mean, you just want to make sure that any outstanding tax title issues would be resolved. I'm not sure if that's something you can do as part of rescinding your vote, but maybe that would be a question for the treasurer, you know, what sort of liens exist on the property, if any.
Thank you. And Mr. Carter, through you to the town administrator, Mr. Cannon, do we know whether taxes are up to date on this property, or where that stands?
The taxes are not up to date, and it was recommended by town council that be part of the contingency, that taxes be paid up to date.
So a motion could contain the fact that we collect any back taxes before that's done. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Mr.
Mr. Ryan?
Yes, I had a couple of questions. I'll sort this out. I mean, I did see some emails that were provided to us from back when this was all happening, and so a couple questions. One was that it was recognized back then that there was an issue with the the presentation of the deed, or the property that was on the deed that was being given over to the town. But then I saw a subsequent email where that had been corrected, and then the previous select board approved it, and then there was an email off to the attorney saying it's been corrected, please file it. So at that point, I'm confused as to whether it really did get filed. So a simple question would be, did anybody do a title check, on the current property to actually verify who owns that property?
So I would say that the Zapanics have been trying very hard to get rid of this property for at least 11 years. So they've been actively involved in checking the status of this.
Okay.
We get deeds from the Registry of Deeds on a daily basis. And I mean, the ownership is correct on this parcel where it's still in the Sync Revocable Trust.
Okay, so you would have the most up-to-date information in your office as to the actual title and who owns the property?
Yeah, so the information on the field record card is correct as to our knowledge, which, I mean, it's correct. We've looked at it on the Registry of Deeds.
Okay, because I just found it interesting that we had sent an email to our council to file it, and it never got filed. And did we ever get an answer as to why it never got filed when the board took a vote? The select board voted and presented it to council to file, and we're being told years later it never happened. Did we ever get an answer as to why that never took place? We didn't. Okay.
Any other questions? Would anyone like to make a motion?
Nope. Could we make the motion subject to just verifying the title? If we're going to move forward, just say we'll vote to approve, but subject to doing a final verification of the title?
I don't see anything wrong with that.
Can we?
And by verification, are you talking about a title search, or, I mean,
Or just making sure that the town, the property that we're supposedly giving back, that was given to the town, indeed is, owned by the people that we expect it to be owned by, just to check the records, make sure we're in line with all the records before we, if we vote to approve tonight, just subject to a check to make sure that title search is completed.
I'll make a motion to rescind the vote of June 21st, 2015, to accept the Sapanic property located on Tremont Street, Assessors Map 10-3-0-R, subject to a title search and subject to all back taxes being paid.
We have a motion. We have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other questions, issues, or concerns? I just have one. Maybe we said this and I missed it, but donating this back to the town, it serves absolutely no use for the town. The town cannot do anything with this. It doesn't connect to any conservation land or anything that would allow us to do anything.
I believe, I mean, Mr. Bach could speak to that better than I can. It's a small, unbuildable, weird-shaped lot. It doesn't abut any town-owned property. I'm not sure if there's, future plans for acquiring properties around there, but to the best of my knowledge, it was kind of I don't want to call it a useless parcel of land, but it's land of very low value for a reason.
Sure. Well, maybe Mr. Bott will come up and give us his opinion, because I think you're next up on the list anyways, on the next agenda item. I mean, looking at this, it just seems like a landlocked property that performs no benefit to the town. Am I wrong?
Yes, you are not, Mr. Chairman. I'm Tom Bottom, the town planner here in Carver, Mass. In my memorandum I provided to the board, I noted that this is a non-conforming lot. It's about 1/3 of an acre with 26 foot of frontage. So a driveway is typically about 18 to 20 feet wide. So to get on the property, it's about a driveway width. It's about 356 feet deep. So if people talked about making a walking trail, it's not a trail you're going to work up a sweat on because it's only 356 foot deep. Surrounding properties are all privately owned. And while, you know, it has potential because of its location near the Council on Aging, according to my research, it's about 900 feet from the Council of Aging. Now, there's no sidewalks to get you from point A to point B. And if you're going to say, well, you could just take the van, as I just pointed out, it's only 25 feet wide, so it's hard to even get on the property with a vehicle. So it has, you know, a very limited application from what I've seen. No surrounding connecting properties to open space. It just seems like an artifact that's, you know, has marginal any use to the town.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, so we have a motion and a second. All those in favor of rescinding the vote from June 21st, 2015 to accept the Hispanic property, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? 0, 3-0. All right, next on the agenda, discussion for possible vote on Chapter 61A, right of first refusal for ADGA Realty LLC off Fuller Street. Assessors map 49, lot 4-1, map 49, lot 4-2, map 49, lot 4-3, map 49, lot 4-4, map 49, lot 4-5, map 49, lot 4-6. So,
Mr. Barnwell, does anybody hear from the applicants? No. Anybody hear from the applicants?
Good evening, Monty Saif, represent ADGA Realty. I'm the office manager for ADGA, and I'm here on behalf of the company.
great. So, I guess any any questions from the board members?
I guess it would be to Mr. Bott, and, you know, we went through this process not too long ago, but, you know, kind of hear the plan and what the possibilities are.
Is there anything you'd like to say about this plan?
No, I'm here if you have any questions, so I can answer.
Great, thank you so much. Mr. Bott, would you care to come up and help us with this agenda item?
Evening, Mr. Chairman, perhaps you heard I'm Tom Bottom, the town planner here in Carver.
Rumor has it.
But I have to start all my conversations that way, so it's kind of my walk-up music, I guess. Not like baseball. There's no music. So we had previously looked at some other property, and in my memorandum that I provided to the select board about this piece of property, I referenced some of that experience from South Main Street and the Lakeview property. So in this case, what we have here are the A&R lots. I believe I provided a map that shows the 6 properties that are offered at this point. All the properties appear to be conforming lots as far as frontage and acreage goes. So they are, you know, relatively buildable with perhaps some permitting from the Conservation Commission and a building permit from the Building Commissioner. The question had come up, well, could there potentially be 9 lots here? In my review, you know, there could be 9 lots, conforming lots, if people bought more property from the cranberry bogs behind it, which is not currently on the market. But whether it's 6 lots or whether it's 9 lots, if the town wanted to acquire the property for affordable housing, as we talked about previously, we don't necessarily have to conform with zoning if we do a LIP, a local action program, local action unit. through DHCD, now the Department of Housing and Livable Communities. Essentially, we could do a friendly 40B and put multiple units on the site. You don't have to conform with zoning if you do a friendly 40B. However, the issues we had previously was how many units can you put on the site with the limitations of water and sewer, without municipal water and sewer. Probably the more compelling issue with this is when we looked at that property previously, it was $400,000, and we had $400,000 conceivably available through the community preservation funds. This property offered at $900,000. To the best of my knowledge, we do not have $900,000 available through the Community Preservation Committee. So we require additional funding to go through that process. So at this point, it's 6 buildable lots that are offered. We could probably build more units than 6 on it if the town felt that way. However, where do we get $900,000 in the absence of the developer issuing an extension in the amount of time to execute the purchase and sale agreement? So that's where we're at this point. I'm happy to take any questions.
Mr. Ryan?
I guess the first question would be regarding the money available. Would it be possible to buy part of it, or could we not do that? Is it all or nothing?
Well, it's a purchase and sale agreement. Typically, if you have a willing buyer and a willing seller, or you're able to work through those sort of things, we may ask Monty how the company's perspective on that. I know in the case of the property on South Main and Lakeview, they were interested in extending the PNS on it to work through those things, or modifying the PNS.
Okay.
Mr. Townsend?
Well, I guess the only question I would have is, Mr. Chairman, through you to the town administrator, have you had a chance to look through the various town accounts and see if there was any way we could come up with the $900,000 to purchase this property?
Mr. Chairman, through you, I am not aware of a funding source for us to come up with the $900,000.
Okay. Okay.
And if I may, through the last process, I think both the Planning Board and the Conservation Commission perhaps recommended the property for consideration, but I think in the case of these parcels, neither the Conservation Commission nor the Planning Board nor the assessors recommended the property.
Okay.
So I guess I'm going to need some education on the 61A process. Someone comes before the board and says, I've got these lots. Now, in one breath, they're A&R lots, but then another breath, based on your memo, is that they need permitting, possibly from conservation. So the question is are they really 6 buildable lots with a value of $900,000, or are they not? Meaning, if conservation doesn't say, hey, you can do this, then it becomes less lots at less a number. When you talk about possibly 9 lots coming out of this, and I'm looking at this section, and I don't see, based on just black magic markers, that there's more upland anywhere for someone to go and buy, and you can't fill in a bog to go and pick up 3 more lots.
Well, the amount of property you acquire, much like with South Main Street that I keep referring back to, in that case, in order to make the 2 lots that existed there, they were extending the property lines into the bogs. So in that case, they were creating more square footage, but it wasn't necessarily upland square footage. A percentage of the property has to be upland. Conceivably, in the case of the last one, they were extending that property line into the bogs, but it wasn't upland. In the case of this, nobody's offering the cranberry bogs behind to extend that. Whether the Conservation Commission would approve that, when you look at the typical setbacks for conservation and the configuration of these lots, it's likely, buildable without, a long reach for the developer. Particularly when you look at the 3 in the middle and the size and the depth of those lots, the parcel on the end, which is 4946. That is sort of long and narrow, and there may be some issues with siting a house on that particular lot. But the others, based on my cocktail napkin analysis, is that, yeah, you could likely pull a building permit for any of those lots as they exist.
But when something comes to the board to vote on, shouldn't it really be no questions? There should be, it is what it is, there's no permits required, nothing else. I'm already seeing the, I guess, the map and locations on the agenda item don't necessarily, what they do. There were different lot numbers on one of the articles. I guess these are the assessor description lot numbers. Because I thought I saw different lot numbers on another documentation. But we know for sure, and on this color handout, we know for sure that these are the exact lot numbers and identifications and map numbers of these lots.
To the best of my knowledge, yes, they are. And I think probably when you have the sort of the difference in the lot numbers is in that package was an A&R plan that was originally submitted. And when someone submits an A&R lot, an A&R plan, that numbering that's on that plan is not necessarily the numbering that the assessors are going to apply to those lots when they come online. So sometimes on an A&R plan, it'll say lot 4, but the assessors will number it as for their taxonomy of how they number lots. But yes, everything requires a permit, at least the building permit. So these are, look to be relatively buildable and based upon my, rudimentary knowledge of conservation and setbacks. Likely they would, they would still be able to build on them after meeting with the Conservation Commission.
So I'll offer this up to the board. Should we, number one, table this and ask for some kind of recommendation from Conservation as to what their opinion is of this, and possibly have a full board when we go to vote on this?
We have a recommendation from Conservation not to purchase the property, not to exercise our right of first refusal.
I did not see that.
It's in the agenda packet.
Okay.
Yes, they didn't render an opinion on the buildability of
Page
the
32.
lots. As I said, they didn't recommend, they didn't give an opinion on the buildability of the lots.
That's what I was referring to.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they simply said, we don't recommend acquiring them.
Okay. But again, from a value standpoint, if they're not, if Conservation says that based on the diagram, the maps that I see, you don't have the square footage that you need, then these don't become 6 lots, they become lesser lots, and possibly a lesser value.
And that's the peril of the buyer who has the P&S. He's buying these based on the fact that he thinks he gets 6 lots out of it. What a willing buyer and a willing seller are willing to agree on, that's the value of a piece of property, absent an appraisal. So in our case, if we were looking at appraising the property built based on their buildability, we might look into that from our perspective. But the fact that we don't have 900K, and we can ask Monty if he's willing to extend that time period, then that might change the perspective of the board on whether to execute the 61A right of first refusal for these properties.
Okay. Any other questions from the board? No. Anyone like to make a motion?
I make a motion that we not exercise our right of first refusal on these lots.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? 0. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next item on the agenda is the applicants for appointment, applicants for the appointments. So that would be these are select board appointments, Mr. Gannon?
Yes.
Yes, annual Agricultural Commission and Carver Cultural Council.
Okay.
Do we vote on them separately, or do we do it as a package?
Yeah, I think you can do it as a...
These were posted as part of the agenda as well.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, do we have a motion?
Well, I just have one question.
Sure.
Through you to the town administrator. These are all the appointments. Were there any other people that applied that for some reason didn't get on this list? This is everybody, right? Okay, that's all. I'll make a motion that we appoint. Can we make a blanket motion? I'll make a motion that we appoint all of the applicants on the 2024 annual appointment list.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? 0, 3-0. All right, next item on the agenda is the appointment of John Carter to the Carver, Marion, Wareham Regional Refuge Disposal District. Would anyone not like to make a motion?
I'm going to make this appointment really quickly before Mr. Carter changes his mind. I make a motion to appoint John Carter to the Carver, Marion, Wareham Regional Refuse Disposal District.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any issues, questions, concerns? Any of the volunteers? Seeing none? Accept. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. 3-0.
I'd like to thank the board, Mr. Chairman.
Let's see, next on the appointment of a select board designee for the Southeastern Regional Planning and Economic Development District. Or I guess the two candidates are Thomas Bott, the planning board designee, and William Cullum. Yes.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. All those, any other questions, issues, concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, 0, 3-0. Next item, vote to authorize Karen Proval, Finance Director, to be the authorized reporter/preparer of Plymouth County American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA, grants on behalf of the town.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any other questions, issues, or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, 0, 3-0. Next item, discussion and vote to authorize town council to respond to the open meeting law complaint dated June 3rd, 2014.
So
Do we have a
moved.
motion? We do. We have a second.
Second.
Any other questions, issues, or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. 3 opposed, 0, 3-0. All right, next item.
I was going to ask if we want to postpone that until we have a full board.
Good point.
Well, couldn't we just set a date for people to, I mean, this, really all we do is normally the board, each member of the board picks a couple of goals for the town administrator and a couple of goals for the board.
Okay.
And we submit them by a certain date, and then we have a meeting when we sort of discuss those.
Yeah, I guess
those
the
objectives.
purpose of this agenda really wasn't to go over the goals.
Yeah.
Agenda item, and I'll just say this, and maybe I can communicate to the other members, and that is, as Mr. Townsend said, yes, let's have a date.
Okay.
But last year, or the previous goals, I'm not sure it's always been this way, is that you had town administrator goals and select board goals, and I think it was a large volume of goals, and that it should just be select board goals. And then my thought process, and feel free to chime in, is that we look at things that are attainable within a one-year period. You know, something that has a start and finish within one fiscal year. The other items that might be contractual based, maybe a 3-year period, not necessarily to be finished within a 3-year period, but progress made within a 3-year period. I'm just going, most goals I like to see is that they're measurable, there's accountability, there's an expectation that this is what completing it means. So that's just my thought. And maybe it's, if people agree, maybe that's something we can, I guess, discuss at our next meeting. But we could also, if everyone agrees, we could ask that from our other colleagues, that just, when they set up their goals, have it as a 1-year goal and a 3-year goal.
Well, so you're saying you don't want to set goals for the town administrator?
Well, I'm thinking they're all the same, is what I'm saying. The select board goals are the goals of the town administrator.
Well, see, I would disagree, because I think there are goals this board can accomplish, then there are goals that the town administrator can accomplish, really, that don't, I think they're separate goals. And I think we should have separate goals for the select board and the town administrator.
I agree.
But again, we could discuss that. You know,
Maybe
that's
the next
something that we could submit, and we could discuss that.
All right, then we'll let's have a date for submitting the goals.
Okay.
And to be sent over to Elaine by a certain date.
Do you have a meeting, Mr. Chairman, that you would like to discuss these at?
Well, I was hoping to
Our first meeting in July?
Look at our first meeting in July, which I think...
Is that the 9th or something?
The 9th get moved because of the... No, it is the 9th.
It is the 9th. The second
It is the
government-
9th. We moved from the 2nd
to the 9th.
Yes.
So I'm assuming town hall is closed on July 5th, correct?
Yep.
No?
Town
No?
hall's open
Okay.
on the 5th.
Good, okay, so might I suggest that that gives everybody enough time July 2nd? To close a business on July 2nd? As a date to have everything submitted by?
Submitted by?
Does that give you folks enough time to get it on the agenda? Like the 4th of July is a holiday? That gives us enough time, right?
Yeah.
That,
Let's plan on that as the date for submission of goals, objectives.
Okay.
and how many, Mr. Chairman, how many goals and objectives would you like from each member?
Well, I think what have we done in the past, 2 or 3?
Usually it's a couple.
Yeah, so let's just go with 2, and then we'll look at any that repeat. We can look at consolidating them at our meeting.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Let's see, next item on the agenda, town administrator update.
Sure. A few things, just to let you know. So the fire department has accepted delivery of brush breaker 28. The breaker 28 is in need of lettering, so they have accepted delivery of it, but it is still a while before it's into the station itself. The emergency operations center is fully operational as we already head into hurricane season, which started June 1st. That always kind of amazes me. Just so you know, the administrative staff went to liquor training, ABCD liquor training down in Wareham. I believe liquor is what the most heavily regulated industry in the state of Massachusetts. It is tough to keep up on it, and staff has a challenge with that, but they do a good job with it. The library now is processing passport applications at all regular library hours, and this includes Tuesday nights, so that's a new feature that's been brought back. Verizon is proposing a Broadband Institute project through the Massachusetts Broadband Institute. And this is to bring broadband service to underserved and underserved residents in Carver. I think that's a good thing. So I know there's a lot of federal money out there. Geez, what is it? There was $1 billion bill. I can't think of the name of the bill right now that came out of it, but I know this funding comes out of that federal funding. So it's a program for them to look at the town of Carver to see where they can improve broadband service to our residents. So I think that's a good thing. We did submit the North Carver Water District grant to look at the viability of the plant to see what particularly the cost is to bring that plant back up and running again. Right now we are receiving water from Middleborough. Like I say, there's a shut-off valve between the piping systems to the homes and the plant. The plant is not operating right now, so we got to put in a grant to get some funding there to take a look at that plant. We also submitted a town-wide economic development grant. I know the town planner has stepped out, but he submitted that plan. Hopefully we'll hear back from the state and see if we can get that going. A chance to bring back some economic development, particularly on, say, the Route 28 corridor with vacant buildings, vacant commercial buildings. So it's always a concern of mine.
Sure.
And then the last thing just being that town hall is closed tomorrow for the holiday. I just want to remind everybody of that. And that's all, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Gannon. Next item is on our list, the approval of minutes for May 21st, 2024, May 23rd, May 28th, and May 31st. Would anyone like to make a motion to approve the minutes of May 21st, 2024?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone like to make a motion to approve the minutes of May 23rd?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
I have a motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, 0. Anyone like to make a motion to approve the minutes of May 28th?
So moved.
Second.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes of May 31st, 2024.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, 0. Next item, request one-day special license for Paws and Bites LLC Sportsman's Club at 127 Main Street for June 22nd, 2024 from noon to 4 p.m.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, 0. We request to use town property, Shirtlift Park, for South Shore Action for Hope Luminary Day,
So moved.
September 28th from 8 to 9.
So moved.
Second. Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Request to use town property, the gazebo, for August 17th at 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Request to use town. Do we know who that was for? I don't-
Preschool graduation.
Preschool graduation.
Bright Beginnings Carver.
So moved.
We have a motion. We have a second?
Second.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Let's see, Select Board announcements. Mr. Townsend?
Thank you, Mr. Carter. I would just say we're in the middle of our first heat wave of the year, so I would ask everyone to be mindful of your pets. It gets awfully hot on that asphalt and certainly in a car, so just be mindful of the temperature over the next few days. Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you. Mr. Ryan?
Okay, and since Sarah's not here, I'll remind people to support Shane Gives Back. Also, the farmer's market is going on Sundays at noon, I think it starts. So just a reminder to support our local farmer's market. And summer starts, this is probably pretty early, as Mr. Townsend saying. We're going to get an early start to summer with the heat wave when that starts. So have a safe summer and good vacations if you're planning that.
Thank you. And I don't know the date, maybe it's happened. Is the town yard yard sale coming up?
The townwide yard sale is coming up. I don't have the date in front of me. Ms. Weston, would you have that information?
June 29th, and we put it on the, it's on the townwide website. There's actually a tab just for the townwide yard sale that has been updated a while ago. And I believe the Thursday before the yard sale, all the addresses will be listed. The deadline to get your address in is also listed on the website, and we did post that on our town Facebook page.
So
Okay, and
June
they
29th.
And they'll notify Shelby, right? Send an email to Shelby, and I believe her email address is on the webpage.
Yes.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. That's all I have. Would anyone like to make a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
We have a
Second.
motion. Do we have a second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes. 3-0. Thank you, Area 58.